you stupid old woman. This house is mine now, get out before I call the police. Those words came from Vanessa, the girl I'd raised for 23 years after adopting her from foster care when she was 5. She was standing in my living room, waving legal papers in my face while her boyfriend Kyle smirked from the doorway. The same living room where I'd rocked her through nightmares, where we'd celebrated every birthday, where I'd taught her to read. You won't believe how the sweet mother-daughter relationship turned into the most satisfying revenge I've ever served. But before I tell you how I completely destroyed Vanessa's carefully constructed lies, smash that subscribe button because justice stories like this don't come around often. Now, let me take you back to where this nightmare began. 3 months earlier, everything seemed perfect in my life. I was Eleanor Whitmore, 67 years old, recently retired from my career as a forensic accountant for the state government. My husband Gerald had passed 4 years ago, and I was adjusting to life alone in our 4-bedroom Victorian house on Oakmont Street. Vanessa had always been my pride and joy. I'd adopted her when I was 44, after years of infertility had crushed my dreams of biological children. She came from a troubled background. Her biological parents had lost custody due to neglect, and she'd bounced through 3 foster homes before landing with me. "Mom, you saved my life," she'd tell me during our weekly dinners at Romano's Italian kitchen. "I don't know where I'd be without you." I'd wave off her gratitude. "That's what mothers do, sweetheart. Family takes care of family." The house on Oakmont Street wasn't just any house, it was Gerald's and my dream home. We'd bought it as a fixer-upper in 1995 and spent 10 years renovating it ourselves. The wraparound porch where Gerald proposed to me on our anniversary. The library with floor-to-ceiling shelves where Vanessa did her homework. The garden where we'd planted a tree for every milestone in her life. This wasn't just property, this was our family legacy. When Vanessa graduated from State University with her business degree 3 years ago, I was over the moon. I'd paid every penny of her tuition, $87,000 total, because I wanted her to start adult life without debt. Gerald and I had never had children to spoil, and Vanessa deserved everything we could give her. "Mom, I promise I'll make you proud," she said at graduation, tears streaming down her face. "All those sacrifices you made for me, I'll pay you back by being successful." "You already make me proud," I replied, adjusting her cap. "Just be happy and kind. That's all I ask." But then the requests started getting bigger. "Mom, I need help with the deposit for my apartment," Vanessa mentioned one evening over dinner. "The landlord wants first and last month plus security. It's $3,500 total, and my new job doesn't start for 2 weeks." Without hesitation, I wrote the check. "Every young adult needs a good start," I told her. A few months later, "Mom, my car died. I need something reliable for work. The dealership has a great financing deal, but they want a co-signer with good credit." I co-signed. Another $380 monthly payment I didn't really mention to Vanessa I'd end up covering when her temporary cash flow issues became permanent. Then came the credit card emergencies. "Mom, I had some unexpected expenses, could you help me pay these down? Just this once, and then I'll be more responsible." $4,000 to clear her credit cards, with promises of changed behavior. Each time, Vanessa would hug me tight and promise it was temporary. Each time, her boyfriend Kyle would hover in the background with that entitled smirk. Each time, I told myself that helping family was the right thing to do. But deep down, Gerald's voice whispered warnings. He used to say, "Eleanor, there's a difference between helping someone grow and letting them use you." I was beginning to understand what he meant. Have you ever had someone take advantage of your kindness? Let me know in the comments. But Vanessa was about to cross a line that would cost her everything. It happened on a Thursday morning in September. I was having coffee on my front porch, Gerald's favorite spot for morning quiet time, when Vanessa's car pulled into my driveway. She hadn't called ahead, which was unusual. She got out carrying a leather folder and wearing what I called her business serious expression. "Mom, we need to talk about your living situation," she said, not even sitting down in the wicker chair next to me. I frowned, setting down my coffee mug, the one Vanessa had made me in a pottery class when she was 12. What about my living situation? She opened the folder and pulled out documents with official-looking letterheads. This house is too big for just you. You're almost 70, Mom. What if you fall and no one's around? What if you can't maintain it anymore? Vanessa, I'm 67, not 90. I'm perfectly capable of. But it's not practical, she interrupted, her tone taking on an edge I'd never heard before. Sharp. Dismissive. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, huge yard. You barely use 2 rooms. And the maintenance costs must be eating your retirement savings. I wanted to point out that my forensic accounting career had taught me exactly how to manage money, that my retirement was secure, that I loved this house. But something in her expression stopped me cold. Kyle and I found a really nice senior living community about 40 minutes away, she continued, pulling out glossy brochures. Sunset Gardens. They have activities, meal service, housekeeping, everything taken care of. No more worrying about yard work or repairs or being alone. The brochures showed smiling elderly people playing bingo and doing watercolor paintings. It looked sterile and sad, nothing like the home Gerald and I had built. She slid papers across my patio table. We can handle selling the house for you. Take care of all the complicated legal stuff, deal with real estate agents and inspections. All you have to do is sign. My hands trembled as I looked at the documents. Power of attorney forms giving Vanessa complete control over my financial decisions. A pre-filled application for Sunset Gardens, they'd already put down a $3,000 deposit using my credit card information. And there, at the bottom of the pile, a quitclaim deed. You want me to sign over my house? I whispered. It's for your own good, Mom. The house is worth about $680,000 now with the market being crazy. After we pay for your senior living and settle your debts, there should be enough left for your care for years. My debts? What debts? Gerald and I had paid off our mortgage 15 years ago. I had no credit card balances, no loans, nothing. Vanessa, I don't have any debts. My house is paid off, my retirement is secure. Well, future medical bills then, she said quickly, her voice taking on an impatient edge. Healthcare gets expensive at your age. I have Medicare and excellent supplemental insurance. Mom, don't make this difficult. Kyle and I are trying to help you here. Difficult? I'd raised this girl from age 5, paid for everything she'd ever needed, supported her through every challenge. And now I was being difficult? I need time to think about this, I said carefully. Vanessa's face hardened, and for a moment, I saw something that terrified me. She looked exactly like a client I'd once investigated, a woman who'd embezzled $300,000 from her own mother by manipulating power of attorney documents. Mom, I'm trying to help you before you're not capable of making good decisions anymore. Don't make me take steps I don't want to take. Steps? What kind of steps? But that's not even the worst part. That evening, after Vanessa left, I sat in Gerald's old office and really examined those documents. Something felt deeply wrong. In 40 years as a forensic accountant, I'd reviewed thousands of contracts, estate documents, and financial agreements. These papers weren't just aggressive, they were predatory. What Vanessa didn't know was that forensic accounting isn't just about finding financial fraud. It's about recognizing patterns of manipulation, understanding how people hide their real intentions in legal language, and knowing exactly how to investigate when something smells wrong. And these documents reeked. That evening, I called my closest friend Beverly Langston, who'd worked as an estate attorney for 30 years before retiring. Beverly and I had met through our book club 15 years ago, and I trusted her judgment completely. Eleanor, don't sign anything yet, she said after I described the documents. Can you bring them by tomorrow morning? I'm meeting Clifton for breakfast, but I can look at them after. The next morning, I drove to Beverly's office. She still kept a small practice for friends and special cases. Her expression grew darker with each page she read, occasionally making notes in the margins. This isn't about helping you, Eleanor. Look at this clause buried in paragraph 6. She pointed to dense legal text in tiny font. They're not planning to use house proceeds for your care. They're asking you to gift them the property directly through this quitclaim deed. My blood ran cold. What? And this power of attorney? It gives Vanessa complete control over everything: your retirement accounts, your bank accounts, your life insurance, even your ability to revoke the power of attorney itself. Once you sign this, Eleanor, Vanessa could legally drain every account you have and you'd have no recourse. I felt physically sick. But the Sunset Gardens application. I looked them up. It's their most basic care package, about $2,800 monthly. Eleanor, your house is worth nearly $700,000. Even after taxes, that's enough to pay for luxury care for the rest of your life. But that's not what's happening here. Beverly pulled out a calculator and started running numbers. If I'm reading this correctly, they're planning to take your house, stick you in budget senior housing, and pocket the difference. This is elder financial abuse, Eleanor. Textbook case. I stared at the documents, seeing them clearly for the first time. My own daughter. Your adopted daughter who you've given everything to, Beverly said gently. I'm sorry, Eleanor, but Vanessa is trying to steal your house and your financial security. Legally, yes, but it's still theft. What happened next shocked everyone. That afternoon, I did something I never thought I'd have to do with my own child. I went to my bank and placed fraud alerts on all my accounts. Then I visited the police department and filed a report about identity theft. Vanessa had used my credit card without permission for that Sunset Gardens deposit. But I wasn't done gathering evidence. I'd spent 40 years investigating financial fraud for the state government. I knew exactly how to build an airtight case, and I knew the warning signs of elder abuse. More importantly, I knew how to investigate without the target knowing they were under scrutiny. First call, my former colleague Wesley Hammond, who now ran a private investigation firm specializing in financial crimes. Wesley, I need a favor, and I need complete discretion. Can you run a comprehensive background check on Vanessa Whitmore and Kyle Brennan? I think my daughter is planning something, and I need to know what I'm dealing with. Wesley hesitated. Eleanor, that's your daughter. Are you sure? Wesley, I think she's trying to steal my house through elder financial abuse. I need facts. Jesus. Okay, give me their full names, dates of birth, and socials. I'll have something for you by tomorrow. Second call, my insurance agent, Brenda Kowalski, who'd handled my policies for 20 years. Brenda, if someone had power of attorney over my finances, could they change my life insurance beneficiaries or take loans against my policies? Well, yes, depending on how the POA is written. Eleanor, is everything okay? Not sure yet. Can you put a note on my file that absolutely no changes should be made without speaking to me directly in person with photo ID verification? Consider it done. And Eleanor? If you're worried about financial abuse, you should document everything. Oh, I was about to document more than Vanessa could possibly imagine. I didn't have to wait long for the evidence to pile up. Wesley called me the next afternoon with news that made my stomach turn. Eleanor, sit down for this. Vanessa and Kyle are in serious financial trouble. Kyle has a gambling problem, $47,000 in credit card debt across 8 cards, all maxed out. He's been banned from 3 casinos in the state for aggressive behavior when losing. And Vanessa? She's not much better. That business degree? She's been working at a mid-level marketing job making $48,000 a year, but she's living like she makes 6 figures. Luxury apartment, new car, designer clothes. She's $23,000 in credit card debt herself, 2 months behind on her car payment, the one you co-signed, by the way, and she just got written up at work for poor performance. My heart sank. So they need money. They're desperate for money. But here's where it gets worse. Wesley's voice dropped. I found something else. 3 months ago, Kyle's uncle died and left him $15,000. It was gone in 2 weeks, straight to casinos and a down payment on a boat they can't afford. A boat? A $32,000 fishing boat with monthly payments they've already missed twice. Eleanor, these two aren't just financially irresponsible. They're actively looking for ways to fund a lifestyle they can't afford. So my house. Your house is their solution. And based on some online searches I found in Kyle's browser history, he's not very good at digital security. They've been researching how to help elderly parents transition to care facilities and managing elderly parent finances. Little did they know, I was just getting started. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Remember that $3,000 Sunset Gardens deposit charged to my credit card without permission? I called them directly, pretending to inquire about the application. "Oh yes, Ms. Whitmore," the intake coordinator said cheerfully. "Your daughter Vanessa submitted your application 3 weeks ago. She mentioned you were becoming increasingly forgetful and couldn't manage the paperwork yourself." My jaw dropped. She said I was becoming forgetful? Yes, she was quite concerned about your declining cognitive function. She mentioned you'd been diagnosed with early-stage dementia and needed to be placed in care soon before you became a danger to yourself. Dementia. Vanessa had told them I had dementia. "That's interesting," I said carefully, because I've never been diagnosed with dementia or any cognitive issues. The coordinator went quiet. "Ms. Whitmore, are you saying your daughter misrepresented your medical condition?" "I'm saying my daughter lied to you. I'm a retired forensic accountant with perfect cognitive function, and I never authorized this application or that deposit. I need to transfer you to our legal department. This is where it gets really good." Over the next 2 weeks, I built a case that would have made my former colleagues proud. Every document Vanessa had presented was analyzed by Beverly. Every financial transaction was tracked and categorized. Every lie was documented with contradicting evidence. The quitclaim deed? Beverly confirmed it would have transferred my house to Vanessa for $0, a gift that would leave me with nothing. The power of attorney? Written so broadly that Vanessa could have sold my house, emptied my retirement accounts, and changed my will without my knowledge or consent. The Sunset Gardens application? Based entirely on fabricated claims about my mental decline, submitted without my knowledge or consent. But the smoking gun came from Kyle's own stupidity. Wesley's investigation uncovered text messages between Kyle and his gambling buddy Austin. Messages like, "Once we get the old lady's house, I can pay you back that $10K and we're solid for Vegas." And, "Vanessa says her mom's so trusting she won't even read the paperwork before signing." And the most damning, "The power of attorney gives us complete control, we can drain her accounts after we flip the house and she won't be able to do anything about it." They weren't just planning to take my house. They were planning to steal everything and leave me destitute in a budget nursing home. You won't believe what I discovered next. 3 weeks after Vanessa first presented those documents, she showed up at my house again. This time with Kyle in tow, looking smug and confident. "Mom, we really need those papers signed today," Vanessa said, not even bothering with pleasantries. "The Sunset Garden spot won't hold forever, and we found a buyer who's interested in the house." "A buyer? You've already been shopping my house to buyers?" Kyle spoke up for the first time. "Well, we wanted to be prepared. The market moves fast. We actually have someone willing to go $720,000 if we can close quickly." $720,000. $60,000 more than we'd discussed. They were planning to pocket the extra money before I even knew what the house was worth. "Actually," I said calmly, "I've had some time to think, and I've decided you're right." Vanessa's face lit up with surprise and greed. "Really? Really? But I've made a few changes to the arrangements. Why don't you both sit down?" They settled onto my couch, practically vibrating with anticipation. I pulled out my own folder, much thicker than Vanessa's had been. "First, I had my friend Beverly review your documents. She's an estate attorney, you know. She found some concerning irregularities. Vanessa's smile faltered slightly. What kind of irregularities? Well, for example, this quitclaim deed isn't actually transferring the house to you for proper estate planning purposes. It's gifting it to you for $0 while I'm alive, which would leave me with no assets and make me dependent on your charity. Mom, that's not. And this power of attorney? It's not a standard healthcare directive. It gives you complete financial control with no oversight, no requirement to act in my best interests, and no ability for me to revoke it without your consent. Kyle shifted uncomfortably. Vanessa's face was going pale. But the really interesting part, I continued, pulling out Wesley's report, was when I had a private investigator look into your financial situations. You investigated us? Vanessa's voice rose. That's a violation of privacy. Not when you're attempting to commit elder financial abuse against me, I said calmly. Kyle, did you think I wouldn't find out about the $47,000 gambling debt? Or the casino bans? Or the texts where you discussed draining my accounts after stealing my house? Kyle shot to his feet. You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. I spread out printed text messages across my coffee table. Modern technology is amazing. Your friend Austin was very cooperative once he realized he might be charged as an accessory to financial fraud. But wait, there's more. Vanessa, I said, turning to my daughter, who looked like she might be sick. I also called Sunset Gardens. Imagine my surprise when they told me you'd claimed I had dementia. That I was becoming a danger to myself. That I needed immediate placement. Mom, I was worried about you. I've had a complete cognitive evaluation by Dr. Vincent Holloway at City Medical Center. Perfect score. No signs of dementia, memory loss, or cognitive decline. In fact, Dr. Holloway was so impressed with my mental acuity that he asked if I'd consider being interviewed for a study on successful aging. I pulled out the medical report. So either you genuinely believed I had dementia despite no evidence, which would make you dangerously delusional, or you deliberately lied to a care facility to create a paper trail suggesting I was incompetent. Which is it? Vanessa started crying. Not the genuine tears I'd seen throughout her childhood, but the manipulative tears she'd learned worked on me. Mom, you don't understand. We're in trouble. Kyle's family is threatening him over the money he owes, and I could lose my job, and we just needed. You needed to steal from the woman who raised you, I finished. Who paid for your education, your apartment deposits, your car, your credit cards. Who gave you everything she had, including 23 years of love and stability you never had before. Kyle made one last desperate attempt. Eleanor, be reasonable. You're old, you don't need all this space, and we're your family. We deserve. You deserve nothing, I said, my voice hard as steel. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't lie about dementia to justify theft. Family doesn't text their friends about draining bank accounts. The real surprise came when I pulled out my phone and played a recording. Actually, before you arrived today, I called a few people to join us. The doorbell rang. I opened it to reveal Beverly Langston, Wesley Hammond, 2 police officers, and an adult protective services investigator named Patricia Voss. What is this? Vanessa demanded. This, Patricia said, stepping forward, is an investigation into attempted elder financial abuse. Ms. Whitmore has provided substantial evidence that you attempted to defraud her of her home and assets through manipulation, misrepresentation, and attempted legal coercion. One of the officers addressed Kyle. Mr. Brennan, we'd like to ask you some questions about text messages discussing plans to drain accounts belonging to Ms. Eleanor Whitmore. Kyle's face went completely white. Vanessa, Beverly said, pulling out her own folder, I'm serving you with a cease and desist order. You are prohibited from contacting your mother about any financial matters, from using her credit cards or financial information, and from representing yourself as having any authority over her affairs. Violation will result in immediate legal action. The aftermath was swift and devastating for Vanessa and Kyle. The police investigation uncovered that Kyle had already used my credit card information, stolen from my purse during a visit, to make over $8,000 in charges I'd never authorized. That's felony credit card fraud. Vanessa's employer discovered she'd been using company time and resources to research elder care facilities and estate planning for personal benefit, not work purposes. Combined with her existing performance issues, she was terminated. Kyle's gambling debts caught up with him. When the $720,000 house sale fell through, his creditors started aggressive collection efforts. Within 2 months, he and Vanessa declared bankruptcy. The casino he owed money to filed a civil suit. The boat was repossessed. The luxury apartment became unsustainable, and they moved into a studio apartment on the rough side of town. But the most satisfying consequence came from the community itself. You see, Oakmont Street isn't just any neighborhood. It's a tight-knit community where many families have lived for decades. When word spread about what Vanessa had tried to do, and in a small community, word always spreads, the social consequences were immediate and brutal. Mrs. Hawthorne next door, who used to babysit Vanessa, refused to acknowledge her when she came to collect her belongings. Mr. Pemberton across the street, who'd taught Vanessa to ride a bike, told her she was a disgrace. The Rodriguez family, who'd celebrated every one of Vanessa's birthdays with us, publicly called her out on social media for trying to abuse her elderly mother. The local newspaper ran a story about elder financial abuse using Vanessa and Kyle as unnamed examples. Everyone knew who they were talking about. Vanessa's entire social circle evaporated. Friends stopped returning calls. Former colleagues avoided her. Even Kyle's family disowned him once they learned he'd tried to steal from a 67-year-old woman who'd been nothing but generous. 3 months after that confrontation, I got a letter from Vanessa. Not an apology, she still wasn't capable of that, but a desperate plea for money to cover rent. She'd been evicted twice, couldn't find work, and Kyle had left her for someone else. I wrote back a single sentence: "You made your choices. Now you live with the consequences." 6 months later, I heard through Beverly that Vanessa had moved 3 states away, working as a cashier at a discount store, living in a shared apartment with 3 roommates. Kyle was in court-ordered treatment for gambling addiction and working night shifts at a warehouse. The house I'd almost lost? I'm still living in it, surrounded by memories of Gerald and the life we built together. I've updated my will to leave everything to legitimate charities that help foster children. Ironic, isn't it? I started volunteering with an organization that educates seniors about financial abuse. My story has helped dozens of elderly people recognize warning signs before it's too late. And Vanessa? I haven't spoken to her in over a year. She sends occasional texts asking for just one more chance or a small loan to get back on my feet. I don't respond. Some people ask if I feel guilty about destroying my daughter's life. My answer is always the same: I didn't destroy anything. Vanessa destroyed her own life the moment she decided greed was more important than family. I simply refused to be her victim. The irony is beautiful. She tried to have me declared mentally incompetent so she could steal my home. Instead, she proved that I was sharp enough to catch her, document her fraud, and protect myself legally. She wanted to take everything I'd built. Instead, she lost everything she had, including the mother who would have done anything for her if she'd just been honest. Justice was served, and karma had the final word. If you enjoyed seeing an entitled adopted daughter get what she deserved, you'll love my next story about a son-in-law who tried to convince his wife that her mother should be put in a nursing home so they could sell her house and use the money for his business, until the mother revealed she'd secretly been funding his competitor. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Share in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of satisfying justice.
If this story got you thinking, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that hit deep, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, if you know someone who needs to hear this one, share it with them. Thanks for watching.